So let's call to order the January 5th Historic District Commission meeting. I think we need to appoint one or two of the off. Oh no, you're commission.
Yeah.
Now, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think we're good.
Good.
Right. All right.
Well, if there's not a fifth, we would name an alternate. Oh, here's the fifth.
There's so first off, approval of the December 1st meeting minutes. Do I have a motion? Carolyn?
Second.
I'll second.
And I'll try to take notes. Since we don't have Martha today. Okay. Any discussion on the meeting minutes? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
I wasn't here, so
Abstaining?
Yeah.
Okay. Public comment. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. Co-chairs report. John, do you have anything?
Yeah, just a couple quick matters. At the last meeting, we discussed submitting a memo to zoning at the museum's request. The memo outlined the scope of HDC jurisdiction with respect to C of A's, and Russ and I have done that. We have, as you know from past discussions, the help of Elena with what had been a long list of tasks, because when Martha and I met with her, Elena's table was pretty clear, and it's now filled up, so we will have less time from her than we thought, but we still hope to get some assistance, particularly in developing an Excel web sheet that allows easy access to information about past actions we have taken property by property. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. I had one item, and that is we've drafted a letter to the Griswolds concerning the follow-up for the SHPO work that we did when basically when we supported the Griswold Point Historic District. And I think everybody has a copy of that letter. Basically, it's a continuation in support of their effort to save the 1750s house structure, and with an addition, with a removal of a 1954 addition that would be converted into a kind of a kitchen area and support for the 1950 structure. I'm going to send that out. If anybody has any comments or concerns, please let me know. Any thoughts? Okay. And I think that's it. So public hearing on 52 Lime Street, the military memorial markers. Do we have a representative from the Duck River Garden Club?
We're a little bit early,
A
so
little bit early.
yeah, she may not be coming till 9:15. But we could still discuss it.
We could discuss.
Well,
All right. You want to?
maybe we till we just for a few minutes, should we perhaps set the scene for the discussion of the zoning regulations and then get into the meat of that later?
I think that would be a great idea, John.
I mean, as you know from emails, zoning is having a hearing next Monday on their proposed new regulations, and they're pretty dense. I have been through them, and Russ has been through them, and what you saw circulated are some discussion points. There probably are others. One thing to think about is just procedurally, how would we want to proceed? Do we want to write up something to submit to zoning before the meeting? Do we want to attend the meeting to be there to answer questions about what we've written up, or to present a statement? And if so, who's going to attend?
I think we first should discuss, John, maybe today. I think some of the comments here were things that we might consider or we might need answered. But I think today we should discuss what, if any, comments would go directly to the zoning commission, and noting that we've provided input before to the zoning commission on certain matters. I think we want to be very specific and constrained in our comments, but I think we should highlight any items that strengthen the historic aspect of the new zoning regulation, but recognize that, this is their document. We have our document and regulation. So,
yeah, I think the first 2.5 pages of that 4-page thing that was circulated highlight possible issues to raise with them. And Russ is right. Some of them may be a bit too particular and picky to raise. I know that I goofed on one of them, which can be probably cut out, but anyway, are we up to the starting time for the hearing?
not yet.
Oh, we need to stretch this.
Well, maybe any initial thought, if folks had a chance to look at this, and without going into too much detail right now, but just quick impressions.
I thought the comments were excellent, John. I was so grateful that you did it and I didn't have to. I thought it was, and even if some of the points are small, I think it gives us an overall understanding of how we would look at the document. So I commend you for all the work that you did on that. It's very, very helpful. So the question is the right one. How do we proceed? What do we present to the zoning commission, and when and how? I mean, as I read through your document, one way would be to go through their document, insert your suggested changes in red or something so that they could see it all laid out, because this is dense. I mean, your comments are excellent, but they're also dense. So that would be one way to do it. Another way is there going to be a vote on Monday, or is this just a discussion? Because we want our concerns, I think, brought up or reflected in the discussion on Monday, don't we?
I think this is the first public comment. Is that right, John?
I believe so. I don't know how many other hearings or whether there will be an extension of the hearing. It's conceivable that I believe this is the only hearing that's been announced, and hearings can be extended, but if they hear all the comments Monday, then this may be the one opportunity. Carolyn, I did not attempt to draft statutory language. I mean, that really is an expert, an exercise maybe for David or somebody who's really into the intricacies of land use law. So that's an open question. Certainly, some of the points can be pinned down, but I for one would be a little reluctant to suggest exact language. I mean, detailed. We might have some phrases such as, shouldn't you take a line from the POCD and use it to replace what you've got, but I don't know.
Yeah, I see the problem, John. I see the problem exactly. And it is legal language, of course. So, but I just was trying to get the zoning commission members to move from, to be able to understand where exactly in their document we would like to see changes. Maybe that can just be done in an accompanying letter. That
Well,
letter will be hard to write.
Right.
some of the changes, some of the items refer to specific places in the zoning regs where the issue arose.
Right. So maybe the
Um,
letter could be, HDC's overview concerns, the POCD, as you mentioned, and revising the language about historic structures in a couple of places. You mentioned that could be strengthened or, clarified. And then there could be a second section of the letter that specifies particular changes that the HDC would recommend or request. Would that be the way to do it?
Sure. I mean, sounds like a good possibility.
I think the term, I'd like to use the term comments instead of concerns, just as a,
Sure.
so in other words, I think the preamble of like the first paragraph needs to state, why we're making comments.
Yes.
Right. And then we need to collectively understand why we're making comments, and express it not in more in a supportive role versus a concern role. And what do we as a commission think are the most important aspects that need to be communicated to the zoning commission about the new zoning regulation? I mean, and I think John is kind of, from my perspective, it's basically, as I said, strengthening the aspects about the historic district. And I don't see that as a concern. It's more of a supportive
Yeah.
role, unless we have a specific concern. Do you have any
Well,
specific concerns?
Well, the other general issue is our kind of our perennial one. The historic district is all zoned residential, and particularly with regard to signs, but some other issues as well. There are a lot of things that are not allowed under the zoning regs in residential districts that now exist. Multiple signs on property, size of signs. I view that as those as non-conforming uses, but I can envision any number of scenarios where it could be awkward in the sense that we think something is sensible, but we can't override zoning. So in some places, it may be that there is the opportunity to ask for clarification in a way that allows us to do what we think is sensible in the historic district. I know I'm being vague and cryptic, but one issue arguably comes up today with the Audubon sign. It's a change from what's there, or what was there. If it had reproduced in height and size what was there, I guess I'm willing to say it's a continuation of a non-conforming use. But
Well, you raise a
anyway,
good point. You raise a good point about alignment. In other words, I looked at some other towns, and there are cases where the zoning actually has a historic district as one of the that was one of the zoning areas. So we're not like that. In other words, as John mentioned, the historic district is in a residential zone. It's not a separate um, uh, historic zoning. So in those cases, the zoning body actually kind of governs the historic district. In our situation, I'm not sure we're going to get total alignment. We should strive for it, but I think we give up some authority if we were never mind.
I see what you mean.
Well, we don't give up authority, Russ, in the
Right.
sense that we can always be tougher than the zoning regs.
Right.
But I, you know, you have businesses in the historic district that are treated differently than businesses in a commercial district, and that's probably appropriate. But I'm just saying some of the we'll see. I mean, the folks from Audubon here at this
Yes.
point?
Oh, all right, good.
I mean, if they're ready to, if the other folks aren't here and it's time to
I didn't
start, we could
realize, yeah.
start with them. I mean, that's just a question I had.
Yeah, let's do that, and then let's come back to this. Yeah, please. Yeah. And do you have a C of A? There we go.
I do. How are you, Catherine? Sorry, that didn't go very far. So here's the funny story about this sign.
Yeah.
Same sign, same posts. Nothing changed, except for if you'd ever driven by it and you saw it leaning, then with the rain and the snow, it was leaning more and more. And we have bus stop there for the kids that come to our programs after school. And I asked our handyman, can you go look at it? Because we had all the rain and then we had the snow. So I think it was like the second week of December, he touched it and it was about to fall. So it was like falling / fell over and it had been rotted. So I said, just cut it because we're going to do a whole renovation, as you know, of the main building, which will be coming back obviously for different thoughts. But we just cut off the rotted wood, cleaned it, he power washed it, and then just put it back up because we wanted to have our sign there. Nothing, the wood didn't change, the sign didn't change, nothing, literally nothing changed.
The size and the height changed.
The height changed, the size didn't change. The height, because the rotted wood, because we didn't want to have to put money after money, because it's actually
And
quite
in fact,
expensive, to be honest with you. I was shocked at how expensive wood can be.
And in fact, it was lowered, correct?
It was lowered because we chopped off the rotted wood.
The bottom, yeah. All right.
What's the size of that sign?
I would have to measure it, but it's probably 4 feet by 5 feet, 3 feet by 5 feet. Same sign that's been there. It's not a new sign.
I understand that the concern that I expressed perhaps rather cryptically in the general discussion about zoning regs is that's a sign that, this is just my reading as a non-specialist of the zoning regs, it's a sign that's too large for residential districts. And because it was exactly the same as the sign that was there before, except for obviously identifying the occupant, we could treat it, I think, as a non-conforming use or a continuation of a non-conforming use. But my concern is, and this is really a zoning concern more than an HDC concern, is that once you change any aspect of the sign, which includes location or height, you are changing a non-conforming use, and any changes to a non-conforming use need to be approved by zoning. The difficulty is zoning says when you have a sign in a residential district that identifies the occupant of a property, you can have a maximum 2 square foot sign, unless you get a permit. Well, but if you get a permit, the maximum size is 12 square feet. A secondary
Awfully large.
concern is it, it looks very different from a sign up high on a pole. It to some eyes may look um, incompatible with, or just too big in a way that the sign that's way up high doesn't look, because when you see the sign that's there now, it sort of, the size really jumps out at you, or jumped out at me in a way that one that up high did not.
Well, it is temporary, like I said, because we will be renovating the entire building and we will be putting in a new sign as we go through the renovations. So temporary in the sense
What's
of,
the timeline for
I was
that?
gonna say temporary in the sense it's gonna take at least 12 to 18 months, because we have to go to zoning, we have to go to HTC, we gotta get product, all that stuff,
Is
funding.
it possible for the a sign to go in earlier on the timeline than the rest of the renovation?
Potentially, but it depends on what's that, are we gonna have people driving in and out? Is that gonna affect it? Is there gonna be any staging that has to go up there? I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen, but I mean, yes. But we kind of wanted to put the sign in as like, okay, now we're open again, as a woohoo, we're here. So it was safety that we had to pull it down though, because it was gonna.
It was
gonna
leaning.
fall. And it had electrical on it too,
Right.
which we've shut off now.
Do we, I guess at this point, I mean, we have it was an approved C of A back, and this is a subsequent change. It's a continuation with I guess this would be a new C of A for the entire sign. So I guess we would need a motion relative to the C of A at this point.
I know, I didn't see that.
We
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, we just.
We haven't seen
We
it.
just,
We
today's
just got
our
it.
first day back,
Okay.
sorry. Martha said we could bring it. I'm like, we're not
Let's
even in. the
let's
office.
pass it around.
And I can,
Say it, hold on.
I can add to it. Makes me happy though, people saw it.
I mean, technically, I guess we would need for a proper C of A, we would need a drawing of the sign.
Dimensions.
The dimensions and so forth.
So what that C of A is strictly for the shortened sign with no lights.
Correct. It had a solar, we have 2 solar ones on there now for when we have parties and such. But
In other words, it's the original structure cut off lower. Yeah.
That's all that's seeking, right?
Well, it's approval of the sign as
With or without the solar lights.
well, we can pull those if that's an issue. We just,
Well, but it had lights. prior.
it did, it had lights. Yeah, it had ground lights and lights on the top.
and I remember it was leaning, for quite some time. So
Yeah.
it's now.
And then when it started really leaning, I got nervous.
And this goes to your point, John, about where our regulation and zoning are 2 separate regulations and may not always align.
But we can't approve things that would violate the zoning regulations. Zoning, we can be tougher than the zoning regulations, but we can't be weaker than the zoning.
Weaker than the
regulations.
zoning, right, right. That's true.
So 2 feet, is that what you said we're taking off?
I don't know the exact, I didn't measure it. It was the same, the original structure there was the one from the Bee and Thistle. So that's how old this is. We just put our sign, which we did get approval for, saw all the specs and everything before we ordered it. But then because it's old. So we just, and quite rotted apparently. I didn't look at it myself. So we just wanted to make sure that we still had our sign up and do it as economically done as possible.
John, you were saying that we could potentially approve this C of A as a continuing use of a prior existing sign. And then I guess the issue is, does the difference in height make it close enough to be able to do that, or do we just send her on?
Well, I guess my view would be that it is different because you have a different height and therefore a different look from approaching motorists. But I don't know. I mean, this is in a sense one of the questions that is on that sheet when we consider the proposed zoning regulations is or one of the points notes the issue of non-conforming use and the point that when a non-conforming use changes, the new use has to be conforming, which would suggest a smaller sign, assuming this one is more than 12 square feet. I suppose the only answer can come from zoning. The only definitive answer, if we're willing to say, okay, if this is okay with this under the zoning regs, then it's okay with us. The other question I had, David, is just to reiterate that if it's a new sign and we have to approve it, it just looks different to me because of the low height, and that's just my personal view.
Right, I'm just trying to, I just don't know how do we send her out of here today saying, go get what becomes of this C of A today, and do we ask her to go get permission or a permit from zoning and then come back to us?
Well, one thing we could do is continue the hearing until next month, and we ask Eric Knapp, what's the story? Is this a continuation of a non-conforming use?
That sounds like a good idea. Because we haven't faced this before. I mean, you made a
Oh,
change.
glad to be the first.
You made a change in the sign without coming to us to approve it. And we understand it was for safety reasons and whatever, but nevertheless, it's now a C of A after the fact.
But this
after the
is good to
change.
know though, too, because I didn't realize the height was gonna be,
Any change in any
so that's
structure.
good though. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's a change
We're
in
all
the
learning.
structure. So perhaps John's last suggestion is an appropriate one, that we continue the hearing and check in with Eric Knapp and perhaps ask Alicia to come back with a more specific set of dimensions and description of the current change.
And I guess what's weighing in my mind is you're thinking that this is not the final sign.
Correct.
Right, so this is, but
Correct.
the problem is, as a commission, we can't approve a temporary sign,
Right,
right? I mean,
right.
Our approval is,
For a permanent sign.
it's a permanent, yeah.
So we would have to approve this as a permanent
Permanent
sign.
sign, yeah.
No, I'm sorry, we can approve a temporary sign. In fact,
And put it time frame?
Oh,
Our
and put it-
statute does not
Okay,
distinguish
sorry.
between, our statute does not distinguish between temporary and permanent signs. The fact that this may be up for 18 to 24 months would stretch beyond any possible limit for temporary signs as found in the zoning. So even if we did have a separate standard, I think we would need to approve it for that time period. For the temporary period.
Okay, but we still want to, as Carolyn suggested, we go with your recommendation that we continue this hearing. We follow up with Eric Knapp and let her come back next month. So we're not
Yeah,
City.
David, I mean, that's kind of the only solution I can think of where we get a decision on this question that we're comfortable with. I just don't want to get in the business of approving things that would violate zoning regulations.
I agree.
Mm.
So. Then do we need a motion to continue?
Yeah, I think we need a motion. Do we need a motion to continue, John? Or,
I would say, yeah, just to put it on the record that we
Right.
voted to continue the hearing. When was this C of A was dated when? Just recently?
today.
Ah, okay. Then we have
Plenty
time.
of time.
Then we have time to
Well, we just
continue.
got back.
Yeah, yeah. So let's do that. And I think part of the motion should have a request for a drawing of the change so that we have a
The new height.
yeah,
dimensions.
the new
Yep.
dimensions, yeah. So can we
Well,
get a
yeah,
motion?
or couldn't she just take a picture and specify what the
And that's what I was
dimensions
gonna
are?
do.
Yeah. Well,
Sounds like a good
I think
idea.
we should have the dimension on it. I think we should have the dimension of the sign.
Oh, yeah, I'll put the
Because that's
dimensions.
what's in question, right? The dimension of the sign.
Not the dimension of the height of
The
the,
height and, well, that,
Actually, the sign itself, so we have an idea.
Yeah.
Is it more?
I can do the sign too, yeah, I mean,
we can
yeah,
do
that
the
sign has been
4 by
approved.
3,
Yeah, yeah.
it's 12.
Structure,
The new different.
the structure height. has
Yeah.
changed.
So moved. Well.
well, I need a motion.
You stated it.
Oh, well, I need a motion from somebody.
John, can you make it?
I'd say that we move that the hearing on this matter be continued with the request that the applicant come in with specific a drawing with showing specific dimensions of the sign itself, dimensions of the posts, and height off the ground.
Or a photo.
I mean, there is another zoning limit, and I doubt the sign as currently constituted would run afoul of it, but no sign can be more than 10 feet above, the top of no sign can be more than 10 feet above the ground level. That's another zoning reg. So again, on the tall posts, you probably were above 10 feet, but again,
Yeah, definitely was.
I'm regarding that as non-conforming.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of continuation, with specific dimension of the sign, and height of the sign provided, for the, continuation,
Of the sign and of the posts
sign and post, yeah.
and the height.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion
Aye.
carries. All right, thank you.
Just a quick follow-up. Who is gonna follow up with Eric Knapp regarding conforming continued uses or non-conforming continued use?
I mean, I'm happy to email him. David, you got a background in this area of law. If you, I mean, could I run it by you first to,
Yeah, will you email me
Yeah, let
today?
me-
Remind me to do that. And then I can do it today and or get it started.
well, let me come up with some language and you can look at it and see if you think it's properly captures the issue.
Okay.
All right.
All
I-
right,
it
thanks,
may not
everybody.
be-
Happy
may
New
not be-
Year. Happy
It
New
may
Year.
not be today, David, it may not be today, it may be tomorrow, but
That's
soon.
fine, but before the next meeting, I guess.
Yeah,
All right, I guess we should go to the public hearing on 52 Lime Street. No one's here. But let's go ahead and review it, right? There is a C of A for the installation. Let's see here. Oh, I have several copies, yeah. Yeah. Two more copies. You guys could
I
share.
read it online, but I don't
Right.
know.
This is submitted by the first selectman for the request, by the Duck River Garden Club to install 2 military memorial markers, at Town Hall, as part of the Blue Star Memorial Highway Program. One marker would represent armed service members who are serving, have served, or plan to serve, and represented by a blue star, and one marker would represent those who died in combat, making the ultimate sacrifice. The marker height is 7'6" with a octagon pole that's made of aluminum. That is 3 foot into the ground. The plaque, each plaque is 30.5 by 46" wide, and both placed approximately 20 feet from the street. And I think there's a map showing the location right here in front of Town Hall. And there's an image of the, I guess, the Blue Star sign. So
So the signs are going to be placed on either side of this spruce tree? Is that what
That's-
they're proposing?
that's what they're proposing.
With red, white, and blue flowers planted around them?
They say that's negotiable,
Right.
I think.
Where is the flagpole and the memorial monument that's there now? In relation to the,
Well, we can look.
It's right here.
Right
There's
here,
the
isn't it?
tree.
It should be right in front.
oh, that's where the, okay,
Yeah.
so that
it's right
this
in
is,
front of-
this is removed.
So that's here and that's there. So
Yeah.
they're quite similar in location.
There is a stone
There is.
Memorial.
memorial.
Yes, very appropriate.
And right, and would these be behind that?
So that will stay there and these two would be on
Oh,
either side.
other side of the spruce tree, got it, yeah.
As I understand it. Should we start out with a discussion? The first question would be,
Please.
why? There's a lot of rhetoric about, there's a lot of wording about how the sign is appropriate to the purpose of the town hall, although that purpose is never described. That point is stated a couple of times. But there is already an appropriate marker commemorating people who have served and died. And these Blue Star Highway signs were initially intended for the highway,
Right, for highways, that's where. I've
for
always
highways,
seen that.
not for town centers. So it seems to me a bit to replicate what's already here, to have even one, let alone have two.
I think the scale of the signs.
Large,
Yes, the scale would
right?
really dominate this
Clutter.
whole section in a way that the town hall has already been as already an appropriate marker. So I'm not clear about why these additional signs are needed.
At this particular location, 2 on one property.
Yes,
I mean, thinking maybe Halls Road or somewhere else, since it's
and
a highway sign.
yes,
Well, I think.
or
they're-
even on the
they're-
Blue Star. I mean, what used to be the Blue Star on the highway,
Right, I know.
perhaps at either exit or something like that, if they really.
They're not just highway. I remember reading that
Yeah.
they're in parks. They're sponsored by the garden clubs.
But originally they were on the,
Oh, that may be correct.
yes, as far as I know, as far as I remember.
I mean, I've seen them on highways.
Mhm.
I remember when they went up on the Blue Star Highway. Yeah.
There are pictures of the signs, I think, from Saybrook. Do you know where in Saybrook those are?
Across from the Cape, John,
Yeah, across the.
and there's only one,
There's-
I think.
So they're not on their town hall property, which is next to the Cape.
Right,
So they're
correct.
across the street.
Yes.
It's still town property, that spot.
Mhm. They do, just as a note, they do recommend that the historic district could go to Old Saybrook to view the signs
Right.
if,
But they provided us with a photograph.
right, we have a photograph, but if folks felt like they would like to visit and see one firsthand, that's possible.
But to my earlier point, the one in Saybrook doesn't replicate another sign at that
Exactly.
site, whereas
Right.
here we already have a granite marker.
And I realize one signifies veterans.
One who have served or
who
will
have
serve, and
served
the other
and
one
then
who
work
died.
currently.
But that's still an overlap, I think.
Right.
I think the Gold Star is this a service memorial?
Yes, it says, I read it quickly, but I think
Is
it
it
says
for
those who
those
have
that-
served
Given
and
the,
died.
Right.
and died. It
Yes,
is.
it just, I just read
That's
it
what the
quickly.
Gold Star
I mean, to go
No,
out,
no, I know the Gold Star does, but does
The current
the
memorial.
current memorial say?
Current
I
memorial.
think it says that.
So I just want to make sure it's overlapping on.
do you want me to check, just for sure, take a picture?
My concern is that Pete Hegseth gets wind of this if we deny it and we all are blackballed or something like that.
Well, let me ask this question. There were a couple of other sites that they were considering in town. Is what I'm,
There's a lot of clutter. We talk about clutter.
Exactly.
what I'm hearing objection to the overlap and the cluttering of that area. Is there another location in town that would be, or in the district? Because we have purview over the district.
North Green was,
That was it.
Right, the Selene area. That was
Right.
one
Well,
that was
that
initially
seems-
mentioned to us.
But
Even more
that's
so than,
not, the North Green is not in the district.
It's not in the district, right? That's right.
well, then they don't need a.
They,
Right.
they don't.
They just need they just need town approval.
I gotta say, that just seems very cluttered out there.
I agree.
I mean, that's a nice little corner the way it is.
You have the text.
I think. In honor of the men and women who gave their lives in order to maintain peace for all of mankind. Very nice.
But it's not just those who served. You can tell from what I'm about to say that I have zoning regs on my mind. There are one of two ways that this passes zoning. One is
Deb,
if we were to put this here, one is that it's exempt. So the following signs are exempt under the current and proposed new zoning regulations. If it is required or authorized under state or federal law or by the town of Old Lyme, examples being traffic and directional signs. So the question is, I don't know for sure what was done at the zoning meeting where the Garden Club presented this, but I don't know whether the town actually authorized this sign or just sort of heard it and said, oh, that's a good idea. I know Martha signed the C of A application
That
maybe I'm
represents
being
the
too,
town to me.
but yeah, but maybe I'm being too picky. I don't know. If I were looking for authority akin to a statute, I would look for a more definitive approval by the town. But anyway, if it is exempt, it's exempt for purposes of zoning. The second is that I see it as large enough, it's under 12 feet, but over 2 square feet, that it would need a permit if it's not exempt. It seems to me there are a couple directions we could go based on discussion. One is simply to vote to deny it and thank the people and suggest they look for an alternative location. The second is to, again, continue the hearing, request more information about why the signs are particularly appropriate for town hall, citing at the town hall, given the existence of a sign already, and also asking for clarification about whether this is considered approved under the zoning regulations or requires a permit from zoning.
Don, I just quickly went through the last few zoning meeting minutes and there's no mention of this.
No, it wouldn't be a zoning minutes. It would be a
Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen. They took it to the
Selectmen.
Board of Selectmen.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you
So-
said they went to zoning first. Okay.
No, if I did, I misspoke. They talked to Board of Selectmen.
I
To
think
the best of
zoning's
my
not-
knowledge, they have not gone to zoning.
I think zoning's on your brain, John.
But if the Board of Selectmen approved it, I guess I would have to say, all right, it's exempt as a sign that's authorized by the town of Old Lyme.
But it doesn't meet the criteria of the other signs that you said were exempt.
It's not authorized by state law, it's not authorized by federal law. The third "or" is or by the town of Old Lyme. It doesn't say or by a town of Old Lyme ordinance. So how does the town of Old Lyme give its approval for actions or things to be built? I would argue it's by a vote of the Board of Selectmen.
Great. And a motion carried 3-0.
But-
Did you hear that, John? The motion
No.
carried 3-0
Yep,
The
December
motion
8th
to-
is when they went
The motion.
for the
to what?
sign.
for the sign.
What does it say?
It just says Mary Ellen presented on behalf of the Garden Club. The idea to have these markers in place for the America 250. All selectmen expressed support. Misha asked if there would be any utilities that would obstruct the markers. Tree Commission and HDC will need to be consulted. Motion by Lamppost to approve and purchase the sign, second by Misha. After brief discussion, Lamppost made an addendum to the motion to authorize Martha to sign the application that would be submitted to HDC.
Okay, so I guess I'd say it's exempt because the town has approved it.
Correct.
But the
But
Crown has
They
approved.
just approved
submitting to
the
HDC.
signs. They didn't specify the.
Right, and Tree
precise
Commission too, they
location.
said would be consulted.
We still have, the HCC still has jurisdiction,
Right.
but they have any zoning concerns. They have waived, is what it sounds like to me, in terms of the size of the sign.
Right, I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that it's
Right.
I mean, even if zoning says it's approved and it's approved only for installation at the town hall, I- well, I don't know. I'd have to go back and read our
This is the
statute. I
perfect
don't-
case that I was
I don't-
describing earlier, that there's going to be situations where we have a different jurisdiction than zoning. And in this case, we
But
have a
we ha-
jurisdiction. And
So aren't we looking at what is it that we want to do as the HDC? What do we think is in the best interest of the historic district? And then the separate question is whether whatever we say, that gets overridden by the authorization by the town. But aren't they two separate questions? What do we want to do as the HDC?
Do we feel like, I mean, I always go back, do we feel like the proposed structure in this case is in keeping with the historic character of the district?
Yes,
To me, that's our,
overriding. I
Overriding,
agree with
got it.
this. Yes.
so that's the question that we have to answer for ourselves.
I just noticed something.
So I mean, several things we've considered in the past with signs on the town green is the notion of clutter. That we don't,
And we
the
have
town,
perfect examples.
it's not appropriate
Hmm.
to have too many signs in any one location, regardless of the nobility of their intent. It's about the landscape. So perhaps we would want to consider, John mentioned three options. The first option, which is the HTC does not approve because there's already an appropriate sign on this property which commemorates whoever, the fallen soldiers, and the HTC recommends that the Garden Club find a different location outside of the historic district. I don't want them then to go to Sill Lane though. But but
How about
even
this?
so,
Like the cemetery or something. Did they ever consider the Duck River Cemetery?
they seem to have considered it, but they haven't approached the Duck River Cemetery. But the
Well,
Halls
like I said,
Road or
like-
a highway,
Halls Road is very visible, trying to beautify, trying to, pull it in as a town road rather than a state highway. I would think that would be, it would be with the flowers and all of that. I think that would be much more appropriate.
so for example, as you get off the highway coming to town, there's that big marker. And the Garden Club has a sign next to it. So perhaps that location would be a fitting one because it's near the highway. It's, and
156 or something like that.
Well, I guess, we have the option of making a motion to approve or deny, or we have an option for a continuation of the meeting. And I would need a motion.
What are we gonna do if we continue? Clarify whether the town has, or whether zoning has approved it by dint of Martha's signature, or it passes.
To me, that's not a question. I think if this Board of Selectmen unanimously approved it, then the town is,
Okay, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
and from my perspective, the town has authorized it and would like to see it in this location.
I suggest that the town and zoning may both be looking to the HTC for guidance on this.
Because they are conferring with tree commission.
Worst case is if we say, no, it's not appropriate in this location and suggest they look at another location, they can come back and complain and make a case in person. Refile a certificate with additional arguments.
Okay, but for those of us who may object, myself included, if the issue is just the clutter, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And redundancy.
yeah.
Right.
But again, is it appropriate in supporting the character of the historic district? I think
Yes.
that's a fair question.
Right.
To deny it, I think, is appropriate.
So what is appropriate, Ed? I didn't hear.
To deny it, I think, is appropriate. in
Appropriate
supporting-
to deny it. So we need a motion.
I'll make the motion to deny the Duck River Garden Club proposal to install Gold Star, Blue Star memorial markers in front of Town Hall.
I think we have to include a reason. We don't have to, but I think we should include.
Right, citing, the current
Redundancy of the message.
redundancy of memorial markers that, I mean, when was that one installed? I mean, that one's probably been here 50 years or something.
And can we mention clutter too? Because
Right, in accordance with our new sign policies regarding multiple signs on particular properties.
the proliferate,
What's the word?
our
David?
favorite word.
And also that the signs may be out of proportion to, if you all think so, out of proportion to the site, the current site.
Yeah.
Yes,
But I think David's got an excellent point. It's always wise to state reasons,
Yes.
especially if there's a
Yes.
denial.
And do we want to mention in addition that the original intent of the Blue Star signs was to place them beside a highway and that there are other locations in town that would coincide with that, what, goal?
Is that part of the motion?
I'm asking if we should
No,
include that
that's
as
part of
another
the statement of
part of the
reasons.
explanation.
Statement, yeah.
Chosen.
Do we have a second
Second.
discussion?
I think we've had it.
You all keep freezing, so I don't know if you can hear.
Yeah.
Seconded.
I second, I'm just leaving room for any further discussion.
No
All
more
right.
discussion.
A vote to,
Aye.
yeah.
Are you going to read the
Yeah,
motion? Okay.
the motion is in the question of the Memorial Town markers in front of Town Hall to deny the application due to the redundancy of the memorial of the proposed signs with the existing memorial marker and in accordance with the precedent of reducing the proliferation of signs on a single property and just trying to get my notes here. And the original intent of the signs is placement on highway,
Blue Star Memorial signs.
Blue Star Memorial signs.
Yeah, maybe. That's just our understanding.
That's not it.
No,
These are not memorial or highway signs.
yeah. Okay.
These are different.
Different.
If you read the signs, if you went to the
Let's not-
website, you would see that these are very different. And,
From the existing.
and also
signs.
Mary Ellen is not here. She evidently was not notified that you were going to put this on the agenda today, or she would have been here so she could have explained it in more detail. So
It was on the published agenda.
Well,
no
let's
one told her.
let's
When you
continue.
apply to something, normally most of our other people are told they're on the agenda. It's hard to know when things are happening.
We had understood that she requested that we act at our next meeting when she
Right.
appeared in December.
It's true. Yeah.
Yes.
And we agreed that we would act at our next meeting. So,
Well, let us withdraw the motion and continue this and let her make her presentation. Because we've also, and I don't want to put in there our misunderstanding of what.
Correct. Right. We can proceed with the vote, or if somebody would like to request to withdraw the motion and have a continuation and review of this at the February meeting.
I think
Do we-
procedurally, the person who made the motion needs to agree to withdraw it.
I don't see how it's different than what we have seen around in the C of A. We were given pictures from Old Saybrook, which looks like most of the Blue Star signs that we've seen. So are you saying that that it's different than what is presented in the C of A?
What I'm saying is it's not a Blue Star Memorial Highway sign. Someone said it should normally be on the highways. I just heard that comment made. And it's not a highway. It's Blue Star Memorial sign and a Gold Star. And actually, we are honored that we fall into the categories to qualify for both. Very historically relevant, especially with the 250th anniversary coming up. And for those historians who have actually done the work, they realize how lucky we would be to have these as permanent pictures, because it's an honor to have them. So Dr. Burke had offered to buy them because there was a cost associated with that. About $5,000 for signing.
We're signing.
Yeah, about 4,600 total, I think, for both signs. But they knew that the prices would be going up January 1st every year. January 1st, they go up. So they wanted to get an order in. They asked the Board of Selectmen, did a very nice presentation with the Board of Selectmen. And we unanimously agreed that this was an honor, and in honor of the 250th, we should accept these signs and spend some time outside. It was snowing at the time, but we put them back as far as we could. We did not want to take away from the tree or the landscape, and also make sure that they were safety. There still would have to be a call before they did any type of things added in the public works. But
So Martha, relative to because I can't tell exactly from the drawing, but relative to the spruce tree, how far back are they? Are they in front of the spruce tree?
there's maps that
I know, but there is a map, but it's just drawing in like this. I couldn't exactly see.
No,
It says 20 feet back from the
They're
sidewalk.
in front.
The edge of the sidewalk.
They're in front of the spruce
They're
tree.
in front of the spruce.
One would be set for 7 from the walkway that leads to the side door. The other one would be set 15 feet from the curb of the driveway leading to the parking lot.
That's
So
still
they're
hard to interpret.
staggered.
That's
They're
hard to
not staggered, they're exactly the same, both 20 feet back from the sidewalk, but equidistant with the tree in the center. So the one here from the walkway is 47 inches off from the walkway, so it offers safety if you're walking on the thing, you can't hit it or anything like that. And then from the curb, we went back and tried to make it equidistant so that it's the same from the tree. So it's
Was there,
landscaping wise, it's symmetrical.
Martha, one of the discussion points was the redundancy of the language of these signs with the memorial
Yeah.
that's permanently there now. Was there any discussion or concern about that?
You think that the memorial that is out in front of there has the same word verbiage as the blue and the gold star?
No.
It covers the meaning of the two.
Well, I think it comes from a different. I'm not sure the history of who placed this memorial here, but I know that it's an honor to be able to be accepted to get blue and gold star. My conversations with that department. So if you'd like more information, I strongly suggest you wait and talk to Mary Ellen. They purchased signs and we
They have.
told them that.
Right.
Yes,
Can you issue an executive order
for
just to
To
override
HCC
this?
does not recommend acceptance of the request. And what does the town do?
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
not exactly sure what we would do, but we felt that this was an honor. And that to have a
Mhm.
nonprofit offer to purchase them for the town so that it would be noted, so that they'd be up by the 250th anniversary, we felt that this was.
I don't think the
Right.
commission thinks I think the commission agrees that it's an honor. I think that what I'm hearing is the question is the location.
Right, and the proliferation of signs on one property. We worked very hard with our regulations to make sure that there's not 5 signs on one property in the district. We've already have multiple signs. It's been a big issue that we've been working on. So to
We have
decrease,
one, a historic marker on
Right,
this property,
right,
which is right in front of the other side.
right.
right, but there's this other, there's multiple signs on property, whatever it is. That's what we're trying to work on. So it has nothing to do with it being anti-Gold Star or Blue Star whatsoever.
Well, I think that you should postpone it, and then we'll all come. I'll invite John and Jim to come so that we can all have a conversation.
No, we just read the meeting minutes, so we know we all discussed it.
Yes.
That's. So I'm not sure where we would go from here.
who made the motion to deny?
We did.
Ted, yeah.
I-
And you second.
No, I
No,
said-
Oh, Ed second, yeah.
So if John had said that if we pass the motion, which is on the table, that then the Duck River Garden Club could come back with a request for that included more information or whatever. So that was, I think, what my understanding of what we were.
Or we could have a continuation for the hearing.
Or the Duck River Garden Club could suggest an alternate placement in town, such as on the North Town Green.
Right.
I do think that just as a matter of wanting to make sure we're making a decision with all available information and arguments in front of us, that rather than denying it and saying, well, you can come back and reapply, that we simply continue the motion for continue the hearing for a month and let the main proponent come in and make her case.
I agree
I
with
mean,
that.
I understand if people are dead set against having it at the town hall, that's not going to make any difference. But I kind of think that we should try to hear all the arguments.
To do that, we would have to recall the current motion, and we would have to make a motion of continuation, just like
Oh,
we did on the
because-
last, right?
Well,
Correct.
what's it? No, what's the, yes, we
Haven't
would have
voted
to,
on
We haven't
would have
voted yet. But there is a motion before the chair right now.
yes,
right.
that either has to be voted on or withdrawn. And if it's
Right.
withdrawn, we could then vote to continue the hearing
That's
for
what I'm
another
asking for.
month,
I'm
assuming that the C of A application was signed so that 65 days don't expire before the next meeting.
Let's see, when was the application?
18.
12/18, so there's plenty of time, yeah.
Martha, can you tell me other areas that the Duck River Garden Club considered in town?
And there was 4,
Yeah, they came in and made a presentation to us.
there were 4 areas, yeah.
But were there ones that they actually went and visited and ruled out?
Well, they came with me to set up. Once we decided, the board of selectmen felt that this was our first choice. Because of the fact that you could actually read. this. And then the other town green, down at the other end of the historic district,
Driving.
you'd have to get out of your car to read them. And we also thought that you'd had enough, traffic incident there. That would not be the safest place or the most historic place to put them. And so we determined that this would be our first priority, what would place happen.
And are there other options? So the town hall, the North Green, what else what other locations would you consider appropriate for these 250th markers? Because if it weren't for the 250th, we wouldn't be doing this, right? So it's a way of,
I think that we would definitely, I think that they would still come before us to ask if they put them there. That they wanted to pay them, they wanted to do this for us, and that they could maintain around them, and they were determined. They're not here to make another garden. They're not supposed to do garden. They might put some bulbs around, the daffodil bulbs or something that would not require a lot of maintenance, because their group is also experiencing a downturn in volunteers, people who just can't handle all the gardens and the watering. So I don't know, I'd have to have further conversations with Jim and John as to what other places, but this was we went through it in Mary Ellen. And this is what we felt was the most appropriate place to mark a historic recognition. So that's where
Do we know whether other signs like this have been where they have been placed? Have they regularly been placed at town halls, or as in Saybrook, have they just been placed elsewhere along a street?
Savers is
or
across,
along the highways?
well, I could go on to their website and determine that, because they do have all the markers that they have placed in other cities and towns. So I would have to do some research on that, John. But I know Saybrook is across the street from the town hall. And I believe it was, like, I'm not sure exactly where I was there. In fact, I had a meeting with Carl Bartuna in an hour, I'll ask him why it was placed there. So, but
That's town property. It was the site of the former police station. It's now a parking lot.
across the street from town hall,
Across Main Street from the town hall.
yes, I'm headed there. I'll go check it out. But I will ask him why it was placed there. The reasoning.
Okay. So again, I think at this point, if we would like to have a continuation, we would have to request that the current motion is withdrawn, or we would have to proceed with the current motion. And I think Deb, since you offered the motion, it would be your request to withdraw.
I'll make the request to withdraw
Okay.
the motion as stated in order to continue the public hearing.
So you're making a motion to continue the public hearing, yeah? Do we have a second to continue it?
I'll second.
Ed seconds. Okay, all in favor of continuation?
I
I would also suggest that at the next meeting, the presenter be requested to provide more information about other possible thoughts and give the commission a sense of how common this is to appear at town halls where perhaps there's already another memorial, existing a memorial.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's see, Audubon,
one other, can I
go ahead.
regarding the motion and for the the meeting minutes for December, when it did go to the Board of Selectmen, they said they were consulting us and the tree commission. Now, remember when we did the install down the road regarding the roots of the tree and all of that? So that is something else that we should be taking into consideration. I don't know when it's going to the tree commission, but they're talking 2 signs that are going to be around this tree. So I would think that that would be something else that we would want their input.
Yeah, why don't we
Because we
Put
did
that
have to
in the-
consult them.
put that in the minutes that we would like information about the status of that request and the potential impact of sign installation on tree roots for existing trees. I mean,
The tree
Deb's
commission meets,
right. That was a serious issue on the Southtown Green.
Yes.
tree commission meets the third Thursday of every month. And I don't know if it's on the agenda.
Is it our understanding that these posts are set in concrete?
Sure they
It
would.
just said 3 feet into the ground. It didn't say, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I think it's our understanding. that it
Right.
Yeah,
is.
typically that's how it's done.
Well,
They're
because
big, heavy signs.
Yes.
They would have
Because-
to secure them.
the concrete would disrupt more of the root system than just
Right.
the posts.
2 of them.
Yeah.
All right, let's see, we're a little behind now. We've been covering the zoning regulations as we go, but, maybe we take a few more moments to go through the zoning regulation, because that's coming up
Yeah.
on the, well, so we need to, continue that.
Martha's secretary's report, since she's not here, will not be presented in person. She'll just submit that to be included in the minutes. So that item doesn't need discussion. That item on the agenda, I don't think.
Correct. So, let's continue with the zoning regulation discussion. Starting out with, there is a meeting on the 12th. Are there any materials that we would like to submit to the zoning commission prior to that time? And the third question is, do we want to represent, and will somebody represent us at the zoning commission on the 12th? I think those are the three fundamental questions. Maybe we start with the easy one first, the last one. Should we publicly make a statement on the 12th, or should we submit something in writing?
Or both.
Or both. Any thoughts on that? And let's answer that question first.
Well,
John?
ideally,
Go ahead.
I think we have to have a presence there.
And do we want to submit something in writing and then have somebody present that? And that's been done before,
Yes.
but do we feel like that would be necessary for this? Or just a statement in writing to the commission?
I like the idea of having something submitted to the zoning before, just because that way you can really pin down the phrasings that we want to use. I don't know in these hearings whether the zoning commission will simply receive statements or whether they will engage in a conversation. If we do present something in writing, then I think that any oral statement could be very, very brief, just maybe highlighting the main themes and the overarching themes in the particular points we make in a written statement.
In the past, I've submitted, presented to the zoning commission on behalf of the Historic District Commission, and basically read a very brief statement that we crafted. So I guess the question is, if we have a more detailed response, we would also need, if we're going to make an oral presentation, maybe a summary statement of that, or we just provide a detailed response. And again, it's whether or not we feel like I guess to submit to the zoning commission, do we have to make a statement at the meeting and for the submission? I don't think so. I think we could just submit in writing and that would be sufficient.
Would it be stronger if we do both? To have a, just as you say,
It's-
a summary statement at the meeting, at the zoning meeting, in addition, or as a follow-up to a more detailed.
It makes a stronger point, and I guess I'm questioning whether or not we need to actually make a stronger point at this point in time. In other words, we've made strong points with very real issues,
Yes.
and I'm not sure this rises to that we need to make a strong public point here. From my perception, it's mainly comment on the regulation, and that we reserve our gunpowder, so to speak, when there's a more serious issue facing the Historic District Commission that needs to be brought to the zoning commission.
My only response to that, Russ, would be that a stronger recognition or acknowledgement of the role of the Historic District Commission or the importance of the Historic District in the zoning regs might be important going forward.
And
Whether
that-
it's for
that
the
would be-
train or, as John mentioned, whether it's for the train or for other reasons.
That would be a reason, right? If we feel that we need to drive home that point and have it in the meeting minutes of the zoning commission relative to the train and things like that, then that would be a very valid reason to make the oral argument as well as the written submission.
Everything is difficult this morning, right? Nobody has a clear-cut answer on any
Right.
of these issues.
Well,
Right.
I mean, I agree with Carolyn. I think it's stronger, and I think I do think some of the points that would be made in writing are significant, and they could be highlighted, and it could be done very, very quickly in you know, no more than a page of oral comments that really highlight, and then just refer
Right.
zoning to the written statement for more detailed suggestions.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that we should have a summary oral statement that's the preamble of the more formal, more detailed statement. So
Unless we feel that that would be harmful, I think that we should go ahead with it, but I'm not that, I don't want to make that call, but if it doesn't work against our interests, for example, we're expending too much gunpowder now, as you said, if there's not a reason not to provide a summary statement, then I think we should go forward with it.
The meeting is the 12th, right? That's a week away.
Yes.
mhm.
So and who's gonna prepare the statement? John?
That was my next question. Who's preparing and then who's presenting? Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to be in Atlanta. I have a business meeting, so I can't do it this time. So,
I don't feel I'm the best person to do it because I'm not versed enough in zoning regulations. So if there were to be questions, I don't think I'm the best person to answer them.
John, you're not gonna be here. Oh, he froze.
yeah, I think John's not back. So
So you want me to do it? I can,
if you.
I can, yeah, I can do that.
Okay,
It's a Monday night, the 12th. We keep talking about the 12th
All right.
because it's on the 12th.
so David will present a summary on the 12th. All right. So
But who's gonna, I am not volunteering
to draft it.
to draft. I mean, I'll certainly have some input, but the original, right, initial comments.
Well, let's talk about what are the, and is John back? John's back. So
Yeah,
I don't know if you're.
you guys, you all keep freezing. So when I do this, it's like you're frozen. I can't hear anything.
Well, you were frozen too, John.
So to
Oh.
update, John, is David is going to offer the summary oral presentation on the 12th,
Good.
but we're talking about who's drafting the proposal and what needs to be in that draft, both the summary and the detail.
Well, let me reiterate a point I made before. This is a massive document. I went through it quickly. I'm not versed in this area of law. So I'm really reluctant to in a written statement suggest definitive language. I may have missed some things. And when I tried to scan for particular terms, my computer only scanned up through page 94. It pretended the rest of the document wasn't there. So after page 94, it's really based on my quick reading. And it would be helpful if somebody is able.
One thought I had is, what if we created a summary statement of the comments, but then request more time to the zoning commission to follow through with a document that has a more detailed response. In other words, to have that follow the meeting and not be the detailed.
You probably missed what I said. I've missed the entire discussion after hearing that David was willing to present.
What I was suggesting, John, is there an option to present a summary orally and written, but that's short for the 12th, but then request that we will be following up with a more detailed document to the commission so that we.
Well, I don't know if that works. If they close a hearing, if they say, okay, we've got the comments, we have a timetable, we're closing the hearings, they will not accept written statements.
Right. Do we think they'll actually close the hearing?
We don't know, but I think John's right. That in case they do, we have to submit.
We have to submit. Okay.
I mean, I'll try again. I'm willing to write up the more detailed thing based on what I have here. But I do this with a request for help in scanning the main document. When I tried to scan it for the word historic, it only let me scan up to page 94. And with the understanding that I am not comfortable suggesting detailed wordings for them to use. I think that crafting of wordings is left best to an attorney who is versed in land use law, but we can at some point just highlight issues that are important to comment on.
Yeah. It seems to me that less is more here. In other words, like a bullet point of here are here are concerns that we try not to draft a very lengthy.
Right. I think that's great.
Right.
So a summary overview and then a list of bullet points of the most important things that John has highlighted in layperson's language.
Exactly.
Not attempting to
be legal.
Yes.
Right.
I think that would be great. So John, could you do that?
And I can assist, John.
I missed that. I again missed the whole discussion.
Okay, John, could you just provide a list of bullet points in layperson's language for the ideas that we would like to have considered as in a final document whenever that document occurs? So we have a summary of our major concerns and why we're commenting, and then a list of bullet points of the most important topics or ideas that we would like to see added. And that's all. So maybe
again,
10
you-
bullets or fewer.
Again, you cut
Uh,
out. I heard I'm
okay,
supposed to
I'll
provide,
text you, John. I'll text you.
okay, but
I'll say,
could,
let's
is there
just do it. I
time,
think John will do
is-
it. Let's just move on.
is there time for the commission to flip through this and give some guidance as to what points you think are worthing and what points are so trivial that we ought not get involved with them?
Based on what John has already submitted here. Yeah, as I
In
said. at
other
the-
words, I suggested 10 possible points to make to the commission. One of them is one of them can be ignored because it really relates to something that's not applicable in a commercial district, and that's 0.8. And
The
I didn't phrase
freestanding
it well
sign,
anyway. Yeah, I didn't
0.8.
phrase it well, really. It's really the concern there is really with the zoning limitations on the numbers of signs in residential districts. And if they want to limit the number of signs, I'm not sure that that's our purview.
Good. Well, we can just leave that out and focus, as Russ said at the beginning of the discussion, on those things that are most important to us as the HDC.
Do we
Yeah, and
know,
then-
can somebody figure out whether we are in any part of the historic district is in any of the three overlay
gateway.
zones?
Yeah.
Isn't the whole town in the floodplain zone?
Do we need to address that, Joan?
I don't
think
I
we
don't
need to
think-
address
I
that.
don't think we need to address
Yeah.
that.
I think that's getting
Well-
into the weeds, and we could just highlight our recommendations.
But the point is, if we are, there's a provision in the gateway zone
Wouldn't we
that
know then?
refers to historic structures. Maybe we don't, maybe that's covered under 0.2. Wait a sec.
Wouldn't we know if we were in the gateway already?
I think there may be some overlap with the Lieutenant River, right?
Right,
But
Yeah.
Saline? Oh, no, wait,
I think there's some overlap.
I just think we need to wrap this up. We're
Right.
not really making any forward motion here.
Right.
So I suggest that that John draw up a list of 10 bullet points that he thinks
all
are the
we
most
need to-
important, and then circulate it to us, and I'll send him a text right after the meeting
to
to
clarify.
Yeah.
clarify that.
Yeah,
Or Russ, you can do that.
I'll do that. Yeah.
And that we then move on. And the only thing David is going to present, that's great.
Right.
And the document that the draft that John will.
I think it needs to be like a total, like a 2-page document.
At the most, I
Right.
agree.
Okay,
At the
well,
most.
With the
I
10
would say,
points.
I would say in condensed fashion that the first, the 2 points 2, 3, and 4 should be included.
Let's hear that.
We can probably omit 5, but it would be good to know if we're in the
I'll
gateway
check. I'll check that, John.
district.
Yeah. Yeah.
Russ, I don't know if you have time to look at language about illumination, if there is a general one sentence
will.
point to be made.
I will. Political signs is one that I thought we should discuss. Right quick, like, what's the concern with political signs?
I suggest we may want to leave that out. It's just a
right.
thorny thing, and it raises a new set of issues.
Right.
I think we don't
Right.
bring that up.
I don't think we need to
Quiet
include
this
that.
past,
Yeah, it's
like,
been quiet.
So
Let's leave
7,
it alone.
7's out.
Yeah.
8,
You don't even want to
Basic.
raise political signs? Okay.
No, I
No.
don't think so this time, John.
no.
8 is out.
if you're in something.
Knows for certain that we could we could pursue a wayfaring sign under some other mechanism. The
I
current
think it-
zoning regulations provide for one, like a multi entity sign to eliminate the clutter at the end of the I-95 ramp.
Wouldn't that come before us as a C of A? Wayfaring sign? So,
I think we should
Yeah,
minimize.
but I
don't know.
don't know whether zoning could also approve it.
well, we'll take
It would be-
a
it would
look
be a
at
s-
nine.
I'm sorry?
We'll take a look at 9 and consider that.
So let's,
John, we're gonna wrap up because you're breaking up. And I think we've got a pretty good handle on it at this point. Do we have any new and ongoing business?
Russ, I just wanted to ask about the, how we want to move forward in, not now, of course, but in the future on the demolition sign. So I sent you and Julie, I think, a draft of, just to get it started, that discussion started. So I'd like you just to keep that in mind and let me know if you want me to do anything further on
That
that.
would be great. I also found, I found some examples of other historic district
Good,
examples for demolition.
because
That
we
I'll
do want
share.
to move on to demolition early in the new year, as soon as we get the zoning stuff
Agreed.
behind us.
We were gonna have,
More important than realtor signs, actually.
Right,
I agree,
right.
It's
yeah.
much more important.
So at the next meeting, let's plan to have a detailed discussion of the demolition. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
That's Carolyn.